Hello, my name is Tom Nielsen with Liaison Software. Today I'm going to be showing you Liaison's Messenger EDD product. Messenger EDD focuses on automated business form and report distribution. Some of the key features that we're going to cover are batch emailing, archiving of documents, and customers love Messenger for its ability to attach supporting documentation to outbound documents. What you're looking at right here is the Messenger print server. So keep in mind as we go through the demo, the people that use Messenger on a day-to-day basis will never have access to this. Just the administrator would be able to get into the Messenger server. Most of the demo will be about the Messenger server, but before we get into that, I'm just going to pull up a quick PowerPoint slide here and give you a quick minute training session from an end user perspective. The end user is the person that creates and prints all the business forms and reports that would run through Messenger. Invoices, orders, purchase orders, statements, shipping documents, EFT remittances, direct deposit statements, and other third-party product documents and custom reports also. That individual has two responsibilities when it comes to Messenger. One is that they print through the existing print procedure in their ERP package. The only change to that process is that they print with our virtual print driver. The other responsibility they have is they update email addresses on the customer record in the ERP solution. On this screen, this is Dynamics GP, and this is the standard field that we pull from in Dynamics GP. We could easily map to any field on the customer record to access the email address. So just to summarize, print with the print driver through the existing print procedure and update email addresses in the ERP package. And everything else that we're going to be covering today is all part of the initial setup. So we're back to the Messenger server. The Messenger server is installed on either a workstation that you treat like a server box, or in a hosted environment. Here's some of the emailing setup. These are your different emailing options, and a little bit of background about Liaison Software. We have over 1,500 customers that have run Messenger over the past 24 years. By far, the majority of our customers utilize one Outlook email client on the Messenger server machine. That's where all the emails will go out from. Now, these days, new customers are usually utilizing Office 365, and Messenger is compatible with any version of Dynamics GP and also is compatible with TLS 1.2 and modern authentication. Related to Office 365, this email delay field allows us to slow down the speed that we feed Office 365. We've had a number of clients buy Messenger because if they generate more than 30 emails per minute, Office 365 sends out a warning and stops sending the remaining emails after the first 30. This feature allows us to slow down that speed so you can get it to around 25 emails per minute. Quick related to faxing, we have a number of faxing solutions we work with, but these days, this top option is the most common. Internet fax service. This is where you set up an account with a company like eFax, MyFax, or GoToFax, and we email the fax to that third party where they fax it out from there. Okay, let's close that. Let's go over to the Task Manager. Now, all the settings that I'm about to go over, this is all part of the initial setup here. In the top right corner are active companies, so we can set up rules for each individual company. Once we set up the first company, we can clone those settings for the additional companies. From there, we change email text, we change archive folder locations or the printers that we're printing to. Now, the fun part's on this drop-down list. These are your scripts. A script is a set of rules or actions built around a report. So it's mainly used for business form distribution. It could be distributing management reporter reports, financial reports, reports out of other ISV products, even custom systems. I'm going to focus on two scripts to show you the features of the product, the invoice script and the statement script. Now remember, what triggers this script, as you'll see in a few minutes, is someone going into your ERP package. I'll be going into Dynamics GP, printing with our print driver. The print driver creates a PDF of the print stream and stores it to a Q1 folder. Once the PDF hits that Q1 folder, Messenger grabs the PDF, looks for the script that it's associated to, and follows the rules in the script. So for the invoice script, I'll kick this one off in a few minutes. This script, and these are just examples of the features. You would not need to enable all of this. Line 1 is an example of a accounting copy. So if the customer needed a hard copy printed in-house to attach to other paperwork, that's what's happening in line 1, and that will print to my HP 8020 printer. Now line 2 is an example of, line 2, 3, and 4 are examples of variable attachments. This line 2, I'm going to open up line 2 now. And remember, we're showing you initial configuration right now. You would never go into this on a regular basis. What's happening here is we're pointing to a folder of detailed information. Okay, and in that folder there's going to be Excel files in this example, and we're going to use the invoice number off of the invoice that's processed to go into that folder and retrieve the file. So from a high level, we're using data off of the report that's processed to come up with a naming convention of the attachment that we retrieve. Okay, 2 other examples. Line number 3 is an example of a bill of lading being pulled from the GP doc attach feature. So we're going right back into the database and pulling that bill of lading and merging it with the invoice. And the last variable attachment example is this one, line number 4, where we're pointing to the same folder, but now looking for a PDF, and again, using the invoice number to go in the folder and retrieve the document. Okay, line number 5 is an example of an archive copy. So we'll create an individual PDF of every invoice, assign a name to the PDF, and the way Messenger's configured here will also include the variable attachments when we'll merge them together into one PDF and archive that to a folder. Here's an example of a static attachment. So what we're doing here is we're pointing to a PDF. We're going to then grab this 2-page marketing brochure and merge it with the invoice. But by the positioning of it in the script, it's not going to be included with the archive copy since it lays after the archive copy. We'll then send out a customer copy in line number 7. And if there was no email address for a customer, we would be printing to this HP 8020 printer. Okay, we have a recap report that I'm going to run. The recap report shows you what was emailed out. I'll email that to myself in line number 8. I'll also run the report again and archive it to a folder in line number 9. We could be sending a copy to a salesperson. So to do that, we're grabbing the salesperson ID number off of the invoice, going back into GP through an ODBC connection, and grabbing the email address from the salesperson record. My last example is a filtered line, line number 11. So let's open that up. So this task for line number 11 is simply to email right here, email to this constant email address to the controller, but only trigger line number 11 based on this filtered criteria. So the way this has been set up is if the total amount of the invoice is greater than or equal to $10,000, that's the only time the controller will get a copy emailed. Now the task was simply to just email here, okay? We could have been printing, archiving, we could have been running an executable or a stored procedure or a PowerShell script and using data from the report process to pass off to those tasks as arguments to run those tasks. We could have also been running a Crystal report or an SSRS report with the plus option of Messenger. So there's a lot you could do with that feature. Okay, so this script is linked to the customer's existing report. It requires the use of the customer existing report. In the Dynamics GP world, it's usually the Dexterity report writer. Okay, could be the Word templates. We have plenty of clients that use the GP Word templates. Most move away from the Word templates if they're utilizing Messenger just because we can use the GP report writer report. It could run with a Crystal report, an SSRS report, and other report writers, but these are the most common that we deal with. Now, as an example, I'm pulling up a Crystal report. I could be looking at the customer's GP report writer report right now. This is just an example. If you look here in the header, I have some hidden fields. We call these data identifier tokens. By having these 3 to 8 hidden fields in the report, it allows us to capture the data that we need to capture from the report. And the script in the background helps us determine the tokens that go in the report. So for instance, the customer copy, in order to route to the customer, we need to pull the customer ID number off of the invoice. So we'll create a token off of the customer number field. Line number 5, we were archiving the invoice to a folder. So we would capture at least the invoice number field so we could use that data as part of the naming convention of the PDF that we create. Not only the PDF being emailed out to the recipient, but the PDF that's archived. If you look on the right side, here's an example of our tokens. They start with _EDD. I'm going to open one up. And here's an example of the token. And in the center of this string is the invoice number field for this report. So we would work with someone from the customer's team or the reseller's team on adding these hidden fields into the report. They're usually in the header area. Sometimes they're in the body. Like when I run the statement, you'll see some tokens in the body of the statement report. We make the font color white. They're about 2 to 3 point in size. Okay? So let's go ahead and run this invoice script now. So I'm going to turn the Messenger server on. I'm going to have a bunch of windows open right now just so you could see this process where I'm going to be archiving to folders and printing to printers, etc. So let me pull up in these windows. In the top right corner, I have our archive folder window. So we're going to add 2 records in here, the archived recap report and the archived invoice. In the bottom left, we're going to be pulling 2 files from this folder down here and attaching them to the document. And I'm going to utilize Outlook for the sake of the demo. So let's go over here and go to my sent box, drag this in the bottom right corner. I'm also going to open up my print window because we're going to be printing the accounting copy to this printer here. Drag this to the back. And I'm going to also open up our Q1 folder. And I'll place that in the back also. Okay, let's do this here. Okay, now I'm going to go into Dynamics GP. And I'm going to show you again the fields that we pull the email address from. So click the internet address button. Here's the standard field that we pull it from. Okay, so for the sake of the demo, I'm going to pull it from this field, and I'm going to save it. And I did the same with this other customer. I'm going to send the invoice from this customer and the statement from the other customer. So let's close that. Now remember, that's 50% of what the end user does is update the email address field that we're pointing to when they need to. Now I'm going to go into Dynamics GP and I'm going to print an invoice. Here's the print window. So again, the end user just goes through the standard print routine that they're used to, with the only change they print with our virtual print driver. Now I'm selecting just one invoice here. I could have selected a batch of hundreds of invoices. So we're going to click print. This is all Dynamics GP right now. And now you'll see it default to the Messenger print driver. There it is. When I hit that print button in the bottom center, a PDF is going to be created and stored to the Q1 folder. Once the PDF hits the Q1 folder, that green light is going to flash to yellow because Messenger is constantly polling that folder. It's going to start processing that invoice script that we covered. So it's going to archive, print, etc., following those rules. And then when it's completed, you'll see the green light, the yellow light flash back to green, looking for the next PDF. Now this script is going to take about 7 to 9 seconds to process because I'm running the recap report within the script. Normally the recap report is run separately and it's scheduled to run weekly or monthly, but I wanted to show it during the demo. You'll really see how quick Messenger is when I generate the statement script. Okay, watch the green light. I'm going to hit print now. I'm going to minimize GP. Now the end user is done at this point. You could see the accounting copy is printing to that HP 8020 printer in the bottom center. You could see the PDF has been sent to the Q1 folder and it's processing that PDF right now. Watch my outbox. Okay, there's the archive copy in the archive folder up in the top left. The accounting copy is printing. We're still waiting for there it is. The outbox has 1 record in it right now. It should be moving over to the sent box in a second. There it is. We have 2 emails been sent out. The document has been printed, so the printer screen has been cleared out, and the Q1 folder has been cleared out because we've completed the process. Our green light is back on, and we're looking for PDFs again. So what you have over here is the archived invoice and the recap report that was archived. I'm going to open up that. And this is showing you what was emailed out. So you could see the recap report was emailed to me. And here's the date and time that that took place. And we also had processed the invoice to myself here, and then there's the invoice number and the date and time that that took place. Okay, over to the email that was sent out. So let's pull that up. So what we did here is we took data from the report, the invoice number, we placed it in the subject line of the email and in the email body, making the email more personable. Also, you could see the PDF that was attached. We've named that PDF the customer ID number - invoice number.pdf, while the archive copy has a different naming convention. Okay, you could even control naming conventions at the customer level. Now let's open up the PDF. Now, the way that I had configured this is I actually grabbed the Excel file from that folder and I embedded the Excel file into the PDF. It's kind of cool to show it this way, but normally customers will attach an Excel file as a separate attachment. And you'll see when I generate this statement, I'll attach it as a separate attachment. Now look at this PDF up top here. It's a 5-page PDF. The first page is the invoice from GP. The second page is the bill of lading that we pulled from the doc attach feature in Dynamics GP. The third is the detailed information that we pulled from this folder down here with detailed information. There's the PDF. And the last example is the static attachment, which is the 2-page marketing brochure that we included. There it is. Now, let's go back to the first page here. If you look here, I'm going to highlight the data on the report. You can see our tokens in the center of the screen. One of those hidden fields is based off of the invoice number field. That allowed us to grab the data related to the invoice number and go into this folder and retrieve the document. Okay, let's show you one more feature, and that's the variable attachment feature, and then I'll summarize. So let's just minimize these windows for a second. Go back into the Messenger server. Okay, if you remember on the invoice script, we archived the invoice to a folder here in line number 5. Now on the statement script, line number 2 is the variable attachment feature again. This line here is going to that archive folder of invoices. First, it's grabbing all the invoice numbers off of the statement, going into that folder and retrieving copies of those invoices and merging them into one PDF. Now, we've set this up slightly different now, where we're going to be attaching the Excel file as a separate attachment and sending it out in the customer copy. And I will also archive the statement to a folder too. So let's turn the server on. I'll pull up my windows again real quick. Again, everything that we're seeing here is just opened up for the sake of the demo. This is all taking place on another machine. The end users would never see any of this. Okay, we'll pull up the attachment file, and then I'm going to pull up Office 365. Okay, let's just put this in the background here. And now I'm going to go into Dynamics GP, and I'm going to print a statement. So I'm only selecting one customer right now for a statement. You could select every customer that has a balance due, and then just print with the print driver. So let me drag this over here so you can see that Q1 folder. Now this will flash a lot quicker this time. It's only going to take about a second or two to process. So I'm going to hit print. There's the print driver. When I hit that print button in the bottom center, watch the green light, and then it will archive to the archive folder and send out a second email. Okay, I'm going to hit print now. There it is. It's yellow, and it's done. It's back to green, and it's cleared out the Q1 folder. There's the second email. There's the statement that was emailed out and the statement that was archived down here. So let's open up the statement. Now you can see we've attached the Excel file as a separate attachment. So let's open up the PDF now. So let's highlight the data here. So you can see there's some tokens in the header area, in the center part of the header, but also in the description column, you could see tokens related to the invoice number. Those tokens allowed us to grab the data related to the invoice number, go into the archive folder to retrieve copies of those invoices, and then merge them into one PDF. So page 1 is the statement, page 2, page 3, and page 4 have been bookmarked on the left-hand side, and there are the copies of those invoices. Okay, so let's just summarize real quick. I'll just minimize all this and go back to my PowerPoint slide. Okay, so some of the key features that we've covered. We talked about variable attachments. I attach the invoice to the statement in one PDF. These are other examples of documents that people attach to other reports, mainly invoices. I attached a static attachment. It was a marketing document, a 2-page marketing document, and a lot of clients attach terms and conditions to purchase orders. Features related to emailing. Messenger EDD is compatible with any version of Dynamics GP and is also compatible with TLS 1.2 and modern authentication. You have centralized emailing with Messenger. All of the emailing is taking place from the Messenger server machine, not from each individual workstation. So you actually have your history in one location also. And you have your history in that recap report too. We could email to multiple email addresses. If you're using Office 365 or SMTP, you could actually use a unique email address for each document. So invoices come from one email address while purchase orders come from another. Customers love this last feature on the left. Let's say you have a batch of 100 invoices and 10 of those invoices are for one customer. Messenger could be configured to send out one email with one attachment, and in that one attachment are the 10 invoices. Now, let's say you have another customer that needs to feed a document management system, and they need to have one invoice per email. You actually can control that setting at the customer level. On the right side, we could use any data that we're capturing from the report to name the PDFs that we create. Not only the PDFs that are being emailed out, but also the archive copies. Printer user-specific printers. So we have a customer that uses Messenger to distribute pick tickets to their warehouse. And their warehouse has 4 locations. Each location has its own printer. So the customer had sorted the line items on the pick ticket by location ID number and added a page break after every location section. So when they printed the pick ticket, when Messenger received the pick ticket, it burst the pick ticket into 4 individual PDFs and then printed the appropriate one to each location printer. Routing to salespeople, warehouses, territories, and remember, it's all triggered by going through the standard print selection in Dynamics GP or whatever you're using Messenger with. It works with GP project accounting invoices, AR invoices, multi-currency statements, and we're just dealing with print stream, so it really works with any report. There's no end-user training. Everything that we've covered here today is all part of the initial setup. The end user just prints with the print driver through the existing print procedure, and they update email addresses in their ERP package when they need to. And Messenger requires the use of the customer's existing reports. Okay, so I'd like to thank you for your time today. If you have any questions, my contact information is in the top right corner, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks again.